Hello, my stamping friends. This is Renee Novak at blessedbycards.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, and I'm here today with a Make It Monday tutorial. Today, we're going to create 5 cards with this One Sheet Wonder template, and this is a 6x6. And so we're going to make a series of cuts. So just choose any 6x6 paper that you have or that you want to use. I am going to be using today the lovely and beautiful designer series paper. However, to help you with the template cutting, I'm just using a piece of retired designer series paper so that I can show you the series of cuts. So let me just bring in my paper cutter. Hopefully you can see this all in the video. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this first cut, and that's going to be a 1.5 by 6. And so I'm going to put it at 1.5, and I'm just going to cut that strip down. Okay, our second cut is going to be another 1.5 inch strip. So just the same thing. And then you're going to have this 3x6 piece left, and you're going to cut that into 3x3. And then this last piece, you're going to cut it at 1.5. Okay, now to one of these pieces, you're going to leave a 1.5 by 3. That's going to go here. And then this one's going to be cut at 1.5, and you're going to create 2 little squares. So just line that up in your paper trimmer at 1.5, and then you're going to get these 2 pieces for there. You have your 3x3. Hopefully you can see that. Scoot it over a little bit. And then you're going to take these 2 strips that you cut into 1.5 by 6, and you're just going to simply cut them all into 1.5 inch squares. And so it's just going to continue right down there to cut all these into your 1.5. And I'm not going to do it for all of the strips because you know how to cut paper into squares, but you're going to end up getting 4 little individual squares from both of these. And so we'll just pretend that this one's already cut, and those are the 1.5 squares up there. But first, these 3 you're going to cut on the diagonal. So just simply stick that in your trimmer and point to point for your diagonal, and then slice it out. And you're going to do that for this square, and this square. So you're going to 2 more, you're going to cut in half. And then this one will be here, these 2 will be half, and then those will all be singular. Okay, so that is how you cut your paper. So now let me bring in maybe I'll bring back the template so you can see. And all of the supplies and all of the measurements, including this template, will be available on my blog at Blessed by Cards for a free download. So card number 1, we're going to use these 4 squares on the top. That first cut that you made a 1.5 by 6, and then cut them into 1.5 inch squares, and I put 1, 2, 3, 4. Now all of my cards today, I'm using Calypso Coral for my card base, and I'm also using my front at 3 3/4 by 5. And so this is the lovely and beautiful designer series paper. That was that first strip with the 4. I just kind of put them in a 4 square, and then this flower is stamped in Calypso Coral from the Petals of Beauty, and I did stamp off to get a lighter version, and then the darker version for the outline was the full strength of the Calypso Coral. This is one of the dies in that bundle, and I just snipped it so that I could have the leaves where I wanted them under my flower. This Blessings is from Beginning Blessings, I believe. It's a brand new set. Okay, so that is our first card, and then you can put on the inside a 4 1/4 by 5 or 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so our second card is going to be using these diagonal cuts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're going to have 6 of those when you get done cutting, but we're only going to use 5. So that one diagonal there is the only waste that you're going to have from these 5 cards. So for this one, again, it's a Calypso Coral card base, my white on the inside, and this 3 3/4 by 5 on the outside. I just layered those triangular or diagonal pieces along the side. And then for this one, I chose the Highland Heather to match the paper. You can certainly do it in Calypso Coral to match the paper and the card if you prefer, or if you're using another paper, just coordinate your color for your greeting with your paper. Okay, so card number 3 is going to be using these 3 squares right here, and I just layered them kind of at an angle. And again, this is a Calypso Coral with a white inside and a 3 3/4 by 5 front, and this is greeting is from Prayers and Promises. So that's just a really simple sympathy card. Okay, and so our 4th card is using this strip right here. So I mounted that on a piece of old olive. And again, all the measurements and the supplies needed for these cards are available in a project sheet download on my blog at blessedbycards.com. So then I took a piece of Calypso Coral, and then I mounted my 3 3/4 by 5 on a piece of old olive. Again, this is Calypso Coral for my card base and my white inside, and then I just stamped the thank you from with you in mind, and that is in Calypso Coral. And my final card using this 3 by 3 piece, also the with you in mind, thinking of you, I mounted on my 3 3/4 by 5 all of those little squares up to create a thinking of you card. So I just layered those squares and then mounted it on my 3 3/4 by 5. So that is our 5th and final card. And again, the only piece that we didn't use was one of these diagonals. So I hope you enjoyed this super fun Make It Monday, which is a one-sheet wonder. So it can be done using any designer series paper you have. Just pull out either a 6 by 6 or cut your 12 by 12 up into 4 pieces. So thanks so much for watching. Join me on Wednesday for a weekly Wednesday tutorial. And until then, be blessed.